Hi everyone. Always when I meet people those work I really admire since a long, long time, of course I get nervous. I mean, that's happening. And yeah, when I'm nervous, I often use very strong words. In this case, I often said amazing on that's a fantastic idea and so on. That's how I am. Maybe that's a note as well for myself to take a look at that. I've been speaking with Maurer from Studio Moniker, and yeah, as I already like kind of introduced you, I was a little bit nervous because I'm a big, big fan of Moniker since a long time. They have been, for me, one of the studios that kind of always pushed the boundaries of what's possible with a specific medium. In their case, it's the web browser. They have been connecting web technologies with physical installations and like really showing what the medium of the website can be. I'm a very big fan. Now they dissolved the studio and I met Luna to speak about their work, about their current, they still collaborate, and we've been speaking about these things. So Luna Maurer is one of the two people behind Studio Moniker. And yeah, that was quite a chaos kind of intro, but yeah, let's let's get started with this conversation with Luna Maurer. Okay, amazing. I am here with Luna Maurer, which is fantastic. Luna was part of Studio Moniker, which was one of my favorite design studios. And I'm so excited to have the opportunity to speak to you, Luna. This is really, really awesome. Um, yeah, maybe a little throwback. I think about 8 years ago, I was part of this community, or was part of the core team of this community on Facebook, Crazy Cool Developers. We made a few interviews, and Monica was on the top of our list we wanted to have. Actually, I was quite surprised that you said yes, and now I'm sitting here with you. That's amazing. Luna, welcome to this online kind of space conversation thing.
Yes, thank
Awesome.
you. Hi, Tim.
Hi.
So
Hi.
nice. We just met 2 weeks ago, right? Or at
Yeah, we met
when you
at
joined.
exactly, we met at the Iterations conference. How did you like it? How did you like the conference?
Well, I only joined one day,
Okay.
and I did like it. I thought at the beginning, oh, is my performance a little bit out of touch with the rest of the conference because it was mainly
Mm-hmm.
creative coding, and I didn't know how much that would resonate, with others. So I felt a little bit maybe rather insecure, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But I also saw that everybody really had a different approach and angle to
Mm-hmm.
the topic of creative coding, you could say, in a more general, broad sense. So that was very comforting. Yeah.
What I see is that creative coding maybe is the core or the tool that people use, but they're actually also working on on topics that are very close to your performance.
The perma computing, for example,
Yeah, Hannah,
really
that,
nice, Hannah. Yeah.
that was really cool. But okay, maybe let's start with the reason why. Okay, let's maybe touch on this historic aspect. You stopped running Monica, but you still work together with Roel, right? So you are still a team, but Monica is not existing anymore. Is that true?
It's not completely true as you posted. So
Okay.
we moniker stopped for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a project together with Roel, one film. We're working on a film project,
Mm-hmm.
but we do have now, continue now an individual practice. So not a practice together. So I also want to explore a little bit more the physicality, the body, performance. I'm going actually to place a dance floor next week in my studio,
Oh, wow.
like a ballet floor.
Super nice. Okay.
Yeah, so nice. I'm really looking forward to really change the atmosphere. And Roel has left our shared studio and he's freelancing elsewhere. Anyway, so we do very much go a separate path, but sometimes maybe work together, which is now the case.
Super nice. Okay. Um, Of course, I know a little bit about the backgrounds, like of the official announcement why you stopped working as Studio Moniker, but maybe you can point that out. There was kind of a philosophical reason, right? Or a reason.
Yes, yes. Well, philosophical sounds very flattering.
Mm-hmm.
No, but also, yeah, there are actually three reasons, and a very important one is that the work we've been doing reflecting on digital technology
Mm-hmm.
and making works using tech became more and more critical as we saw how tech really changed into big tech. I mean, it was big,
Yes.
but it got bigger, bigger. The environments got more and more closed. So basically, this experimental online participatory works we were doing had to basically live on platforms like
Mm-hmm.
Instagram or where people are, and they have conditions, and we
Yeah.
don't agree to work under those conditions. So to go to an experimental external website, people hardly do that, right? This
Yeah.
crowd basically don't go there. And we wanted to work with crowds. So that was a very technical, political decision that
Mm-hmm.
we said, okay, that is not what we want to continue doing. Also, we've done so many experiments. We felt, hey, let's look a little bit for new directions. You know, it's also
Mm-hmm.
curiosity and the, how do you say, the braveness
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to start a little bit fresh. You know,
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah,
that's also nice. And yeah, and there's some more reasons.
sure.
Shall I continue?
I think
Oh,
you
but
touched.
I think the main that's the main. So another reason is also that we felt like um, our practice as a duo. You know, how can we change? Do we make it bigger? Can we? How do we want to work in the next couple of years?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Also, lots of conversations about that, and we also realized that it's not really. I didn't feel like having more employees because we did have employees
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that you have to that our work never has been a recipe that you can give easily to others. So
Yes.
basically that you can produce a machine that's
Mm.
going to make these nice works and you can slowly step out.
Yeah. I think that
That
makes so much sense. I think sometimes it's great to stop something. I mean, you made amazing work. You are part of the, I think you shaped the way how people think about the browser as an art platform, as a studio. So that's something I heard a lot from people. They love your work. I mean, you're very present in this sphere, and that's, I mean, an amazing achievement, right? So, and I love the move that you are doing towards performance art, which is amazing. Like, from my perspective, I saw your performance, Emojis Don't Have Wrinkles, and it's actually a rant about technology, how it's used or how we use and how we look at technology these days. So this seems to be like one of the main topics you are personally working on at the moment, right?
totally. I
Hmm.
mean, we, if I go back to the history again,
Hmm.
we also, before we started Moniker, we coined the term conditional design.
Hmm.
Basically, it was the same team, Jonathan Rule, me, but also with Edo Paulus, and sound artist. And what we then were also with conditional design describing, that we should design environments
Hmm.
in which process can take place. But for us personally, what was crucial was to focus on the input for those environments or frameworks
Hmm.
and crystallize our peculiar humanness. We want to always emphasize our, yeah,
Hmm.
human characteristics, you could say, or crystallize those. And that is something which we also did with those tech, you say, online, digital
Yeah.
platforms, if we simplify it now a little bit. And this is something which I try to do now, maybe in a different way, as again, you know,
Hmm.
using or emphasizing more those, yeah, you could say, bodily, physical characteristics. So I'm curious about playing with those in the context of technology and how we use it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I totally understand that. Of course, I know this conditional design book as well. I loved it very much. It's really cool. I was speaking to quite a few people and asking them like, hey, is that how would I teach that in the creative coding class, or how could I use that? I've been discussing this with a few colleagues, and yeah, that I don't know. Maybe that's something I'm going to do in the future, and of course,
Mhm.
quote you then. Yeah, so your performance was impressive. So maybe for the people who don't know what we are speaking about, you have your face. It's completely yellow, like you paint it in the color of an emoji. You go on stage, you have this um, like camera and phone in front of you, and there's an LED ring which is actually like lighting your face. And on the back projection of the stage, you see your face, and you yeah, speak a text, which is, I don't know, is it improvised or is it something that is
No,
completely,
I rehearsed it.
you rehearse it? Okay. And it's like supported by music. It's very impressive. It's also very weird, but I had the feeling that there was so much resonance in the room, which is amazing. Like I have the sense like, okay, everybody's feeling it right now. The things you have been saying about the current state of technology are so true and so important. And it's actually something that points very much towards the Designing Friction Manifesto you published a few months or year, I think month ago. It's not so old,
Here,
right? Right?
it's a year.
So is friction is an attempt to solve these problems, right? Could you elaborate on that?
Yes. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yes. So basically, what I very briefly explained the designing friction, right?
Okay.
So these, like Roel and me, like the last couple of years, we always discuss a lot on technology. We even rented an extra space to feed this conversation, really have also focus on it. And we realized that actually, I mean, it slowly happens, but it was very clear to us that digital technology is here to help us, right? That's what we think. So
Yeah.
basically, we try to fix all the problems all the time. We try to create smooth experience, frictionless experience,
Yeah.
even out hurdles. And but the problem is also now anyway. So and we realize that actually, what makes us human is friction. We don't want frictionless experience. We believe that this where there is friction, this is where you can create a connection. You
Hmm.
can very simply imagine, if everything collides off each
Yeah.
other, you
Yeah.
don't stick to it, right? So
Exactly.
basically, this engagement and this trying to understand what does the other mean in all kinds of levels. This is, yeah, smoothness is sort of eliminating real human connection, and these connections we build online, yeah, there's a lot to say about that, but this is not the sort of
Hmm.
connection that I believe that is
Hmm.
in the end making us happy or making us confident or giving us a satisfactory self-image even.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's a little bit, or it's very much influenced by this competitive individualism that we have these days. I think not just on
Yeah.
social media, but also in the society.
Hmm.
I was living in Barcelona, and every time I was in the metro, it was clear. I mean, this is not a new picture, but everybody was looking at their phones, right? It's like everybody's living in an own world and the connections are not there. And I think friction is a great term because friction happens when people get close and interact with each other.
Yes.
Um, and maybe competitive individualism is something like it's creating this kind of slime around you, so you cannot grab this, grab the thing in a way.
The real thing, right? It's so
Yeah,
funny because it's also loaded very negative, friction.
exactly. That's what I want to speak about with you. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, I'm saying now something crazy, but believe that because there is not enough friction in the first place, that's why we have wars, or like
Yeah.
that really things happens because you don't have enough,
Hmm.
the things that you need to deal and negotiate all the time, and this connections. People, are just, they don't, those that are mostly, I call xenophobic,
Hmm.
they are not in touch
Yeah,
with those people they're
exactly.
against them,
Exactly.
right? So
100%. So I think, yeah, this frictionless way of communication is actually partly responsible for this split we see right now, I guess, right?
yes,
Because everybody's
yes,
in this narcissistic own bubble and,
yeah,
speaking about like living in its own mythology instead of just going back towards each other and speaking with each other and just seeing like, wait, maybe I have a different meaning for a specific word as than you, and we speak different,
exactly.
we say something completely different, even if we use the same words, or this is so much missing. And look at this very worried, especially in
Mhm.
Germany
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is the the polarity that
Hmm.
is created. These algorithms create polarity because they always promise these connections, right?
Yeah.
It's all social media, but what they do is creating bubbles, right? And you only
Hmm.
meet like-minded people, or sort of like-minded people, superficially, right? Because
Yeah,
what
exactly.
exactly you do, maybe you have a completely yeah, you feel very much affiliated with somebody that is actually labeled different,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm now thinking a lot about a specific word. I'm planning to publish a book about that word at some
Mm,
point.
nice.
It's called downgrade.
Yeah.
Like, I love this word because it is provoking. It is
Hmm.
thought provoking. It is creating lots of questions. Like a downgrade is a term that comes from software where you actually maybe have a problem because something is not compatible. Maybe your computer is too old for a specific new software and you have to downgrade it. And I like the idea of reshaping the meaning of that word. So that's where I see
Hmm.
this connection. I love the idea of taking a word, thinking about it deeply and seeing
Hmm.
what can it do for us when we look at it
Hmm.
differently,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
That's what you did actually.
Nice. But I like downgrade also, totally. But in which way is it then different? How do you see downgrade different than, for example, making an simplify, making it lighter, slower, or
Mm.
earlier versions, or is it a metaphor?
It's more, well, there are many different
Okay,
words.
sorry, but it's your book. I guess it's maybe too much.
No, I love discussing this with you. That's amazing. I love that question. Um, I like this provocation that is inside. I like that
Mhm.
it
I like that
sounds
too a lot. It totally resonates with designing friction, obviously.
it's
I'm
there's
saying
friction, you
also,
know? So
yeah,
I'm putting
sure.
out this
The
word.
time delay, I'm saying time delay, right? As a
Yeah.
proposal for creating friction, not instant gratification, but
Mm.
yeah, downgrade completely resonates, goes in that line. Yeah.
It's like taking a photo and having you need to go to the laboratory and wait for maybe a week until it's finished, right? I mean, this is so interesting. I'm now downgrading a lot here. I have, for example, my dumb phone. I took
Yeah.
out my SIM card. I mean, I still have this. I'm a
You have two phones now.
downgrading. Yeah, I'm a downgrading laboratory. I also have this old MP3 player and stuff, and I have a Leica camera. So I'm trying to
Mhm.
understand how I use technology differently when I downgrade. One example is I have no notifications anymore, which is amazing. I love it so
Oh,
much.
what?
No
No?
notifications.
On your
Notifications.
phone?
Yeah, I mean, there's one friend,
Huh.
Martin. I'm writing a lot with Martin, so I'm getting his notifications on Signal, but all the others are off, and I delete all the applications that are annoying me. For example, Instagram. I only install Instagram when I need to repost a story. Or this Leica camera is amazing because there's an SD card in it, and I need to put it into my old Linux ThinkPad
Mhm.
to save the images and then send them by mail, for example, to my Mac, which I'm using right now. So that creates a lot of friction, but that makes me think about the photo. you know?
Mhm.
It's not like taking this thing here and like taking photos all the time.
Mhm.
Um, I enjoy that. I love that.
Yeah.
It's super
Yeah.
good.
No,
So
totally. It's totally, you know what kind of picture you took, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's friction actually.
You
Actually,
know what?
down.
I have a problem with, because I'm also getting older, obviously, luckily,
Me
but
too.
yeah,
We all go
not
older.
all people get older, right? Some people get younger, but I belong to the ones that get older, and I do not, and I feel with this text, right, with this mentality and with this, that it feels also a bit like, yeah, I lose maybe, I'm judging from my perspective of having gone through lots of different stages with
Mhm.
technology, knowing times from before and with and now, and that I'm also wondering, yeah, maybe these ideals that I have about connection, about friction, about maybe young people, maybe they have different ideals,
Mhm.
wishes, and goals. And is this, does that go for,
Mhm.
because it feels a bit preachy, in a way as
Mhm.
well.
I understand this very well.
Do- Yeah, so
Yeah.
this, because I have a daughter, she's 13,
Mhm.
and she knows what I think about these things. But I wonder, yeah, I don't know how it feels if you've grown up with this and I mean, people are lots also, I mean, okay, the reason is that people get unhappy, you read
Mhm.
that, right? You have like inquiries, and then I think, okay, yeah, maybe then it's not so, there is something to it.
Mhm. Okay, and I had to make a cut here in the editing because we were there was something wrong with Zoom. So anyway, we are switching the topic now. Hope that's not too annoying for you. We will find a solution. We will find a solution. Okay, what I wanted to say is I've been working a lot with this term low technology, but low
Hmm.
technology is amazing. Like Chris de Decker from Barcelona, he's a friend. He has this amazing website, lowtechmagazine.com, which is a solar powered website. He's totally into
Totally.
exploring these, yeah, very Luddite ways of living with technologies, which is
Hmm.
very inspirational. But of course, at the same time, this feels like a step back. And I think this is how people speak about progress. They speak either you go to Mars or you go back to Stone Age. But that's the wrong way of speaking about technology and progress. It's the right
For
way
me.
would be to think about it as a system and as something like it's not an autobahn that goes to one direction, but it's more
Hmm.
like we have to think about, okay, we have to reflect on the things that we've been doing and was that good? Was that bad? And I think we have to look at from a systemic point of view
Hmm.
because some
Hmm.
things cause harm at completely different ends where we don't see them, like e-waste, pollution, water.
And what I also believe, but people always, I mean, I do that too, and it's maybe natural, but we always think like binaries. Is it forward or is it backward? Or is it
Mhm.
good or is it bad? But actually, they are both in the same time. Things are complex. They're not either that or that.
Exactly.
So you can
Exactly.
go forward and backward in the same time, right? So what you describe is going forward,
Yeah.
or it is something else, whatever. But so I like the idea of having like contradictions in itself
Yes.
as a truth.
They create a lot of friction, I think, right?
Hmm.
That's
Contradictions create friction.
yeah, that's a
And
nice
that's
rhyme.
where the sweet spot lies. Hmm.
That sounds great. Awesome. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Hmm. So true. Yeah, but I understand
Sorry.
that.
Yeah.
I'm myself like you, I was fighting with this word downgrade for such a long time now, feeling like, okay, I can't use it. Maybe I should use it because it's provoking. And then I was going back again and forth and back. And now I feel like, well, there was this book by Peter Sloterdijk called Grau, which is
Hmm.
gray.
Hmm.
I didn't read it, but as far as I understand it, it kind of is a call to recultivate the color of gray as a color of the middle, as a color of the mix, as a color of the
Yeah.
in between, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's great to think about the language we use, and it's great to question and challenge terms, even though I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to end in a manifesto. It can also end in a new question, right?
True. Yeah, that's maybe more to me that I tend to end up in like, okay, this is how, but it's maybe better to have it more as a question.
Yeah, it's difficult and it's hard to endure sometimes. Do you code, Luna?
No, I don't. But I will. I use now. Coding is a big word. I used to when I started, when like in 2001 or something like
Oh,
that.
really? Okay.
Websites myself, sure, on but very experimental ones. Huge buttons and
Hmm.
where the interface became the image, sort of that kind of websites.
Nice.
Building a house out of pull
That's
downs and buttons, that kind of thing. But I also went to, I thought at one point I needed to learn C, not C++,
mhm.
but C. And I
Mhm.
started to go to university to a, at artificial intelligence, it was called the study.
Ooh,
And
okay.
yeah, and then I went into a course like computer graphics, and then I sat there with all those little kids, mostly boys, and then there was a math guy at the chalkboard and making like matrix, lots of matrix calculations. And at one point I thought like, no, Luna, don't do that. That's, you
Hmm.
know. And then I skipped, and then I also collaborated very soon with other
Yeah.
programmers
Yeah.
that did things, and then sort of I lost more and more of my own, you know.
I understand. That's very interesting because, yeah, okay, that means like at Monica, probably Roel was doing the most coding work then, right?
No, Roel neither. No, Roel is
Oh,
not coding. No, no,
ah, okay.
Jonathan Puckey is a
Yeah.
very good coder, but
Yeah.
he stopped with Moniker at quite like after 5 years.
Hmm.
And then, but also while he was there already, we had also a coding help with other programmers. And then, but the main coder for the couple of last years was Thomas Boland, a creative
Hmm.
coder. He actually also has a creative background.
Amazing.
And yeah,
Cool.
and also another guy, two other, Krisha Erbe. He is doing very well right now as well. He also helped us and someone else. So basically, Roel is also a non-coder.
It's very interesting. Very interesting.
But you
That's
understand the tech.
no, sorry. Move on. Sorry.
No, I just want to say that Roel is more in a little bit more deeper in tech than me. Also, if you
Hmm.
compare them, they're like grades of.
Yeah, yeah, got it, got it. Hi from the editing room. At this point in the conversation, we had the problem that Zoom, the time was running out, even though I was extending the subscription 5 minutes ago, but for any reason it didn't work. I had to switch the account and then we could continue the conversation. So here we go. Here's the second video we recorded with Zoom. Nice. Great. I was of course like I was steering the conversation a little bit into this realm of coding. I think it's very interesting. I think it's extremely interesting. I learned something new that you haven't been coding, Roel, as well. That's very, very cool. Very interesting. What do you think? Would you say that it makes sense for designers these days to code, or is it something where you feel like no, we don't, we need completely different skills? Um,
It's a difficult question,
yeah,
but I wondered about that a lot. And also, the meantime, I wonder more and more, what is a designer?
exactly. It goes back to this question of what design actually is, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Also because um, we, I think we have to really also design systems. We have to come up with
Yeah.
ideas, for what we want, what kind of environment do we want that then we design. So I think
Hmm.
actually that was my final as a master. I did after the art academy. I did the master in media design was called, I think, at the Sandberg. And my final thesis, I gave a speech about that actually designers need to be system designers.
Amazing.
2001 was that. Yeah, exactly, because that I felt that very strongly, that you
That's so
don't,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, that you don't, basically, a bit negatively said, you don't design the source in the end, right? But that you really are part of thinking about the logic of the structure itself.
Yeah. 100%. I totally agree.
Yeah. So therefore, you need to have lots of skills.
Hmm.
And I do think that coding skills help to understand
Hmm.
how a machine thinks. So I say yes in coding, but I don't think that you need, as me,
Hmm.
need to do the coding in full.
100%. I totally agree. I think,
So, but yeah, so
yeah,
that's basically a
absolutely.
short answer.
I like this term, which I learned from Hartmut Rosa, who is, who do you know him? Have you heard it?
Oh, yes, I'm a fan.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. I'm a big fan of him. I'm listening to these audiobooks all the time. Resonancy is a word
I
he
have the
uses.
book. I
Ah,
have a
really? In German, this thick
Yes,
one.
in German. I have it in German, the thick one, and I
Hmm.
also have it in English, but the English I just gave away.
Oh, wow. I didn't read the thick one. I read the others, like Unverfügbarkeit. And well, actually, what he does is he uses a term to describe something that is mostly that we can find a lot also in philosophy and in religion, even this feeling of resonancy, and also in listening to music or
Sorry, this is my coffee machine. Do you hear it? It's
yeah,
not
it's fine.
disturbing? Okay,
It's not disturbing. It's not
okay.
disturbing.
Sorry, go ahead.
So having a resonancy means like you have a specific, yeah, a positive feeling when you interact with something. It can be a theater piece, a book, the birds outside, the nature, a friend, a conversation. Yeah. And I would
But you
say,
need two entities for that, the resonance. That's very important. The,
mhm.
yeah.
Which are the two entities? What do you mean?
Yeah, well, the thing, the atmos the birds,
Yeah,
and you, the receptor and the
exactly.
receiver. Yeah, no, the sender and the receiver. So what this resonance is really relating to this forth and back.
Exactly. Exactly. It
So
comes from
it's
the
not
other
a,
side as well. Yeah.
yeah,
It depends on both actors in the end, right? Yeah.
exactly.
And I was before, for example, I was reading about Taoism a bit, and Taoism is actually the same, only with other words. That's something I find like some of the aspects of Taoism. Like
Taoism, you mean?
Taoism,
With
exactly.
T. Okay.
Or some people call it Taoism. Like the
Oh, okay.
Tao is this
Oh,
intuition, is this feeling that something is right, is, that gives you the impression that you're on the right or even on the wrong way. So that's something where I also, yeah, have the feeling that this is very connected to this idea of resonancy. But to just make the circle round, I wanted to say that if you're a designer who resonates with code as a tool, then it's amazing to learn it. If you don't resonate with these complexities and these things, like feeling like you have to do it or something, that's completely wrong. So don't do it. That's how I would answer the question. This is a very interesting part because here I realize that I am encountering a very difficult problem when I'm teaching universities. I often wondered why are the workshops that I give, for example, with Martin, with coding systems, where people proactively buy a ticket, attend the workshop, learn coding systems and, creative coding with flexible visual systems compared to university education. The problem is that many people that study graphic design often don't really resonate with this way of working with code, right? So that needs to be a lot of work to make them aware that this is powerful, and some even then don't get it and don't want to learn it. The problem with teaching in design universities, like teaching creative coding in design universities, is people are not expecting to use such a tool like code. And that means that maybe, let's say, 80% or 70% of the course is not really super motivated. They want to create, like, let's say, graphic design, but for them, code as a tool is very weird. But that's why the whole resonance as well in the room goes down. because me as a teacher, I often have to drag these students in a way that, come on, motivate them and make them maybe a little bit excited. And there's this gap between those motivated and those who are not really motivated. And that makes the whole thing, creative coding in the design university context, very difficult and very draining in the end. Honestly, I've been very exhausted after some of these sessions. Like I felt like, wow, what is that? And then I had workshops where people proactively signed up and were excited, where it flowed amazingly. And I was always thinking about that. I think now it gets way more clear why that problem is, why this problem exists. Anyway, let's move on here in the conversation.
Yeah, very good. Very good, because I do believe that there are different brains, right, and different strengths, and some people have easier access to awakening those parts in the brain to write or understand code than others. That's true.
Yes. What interests you about Hartmut Rosa's resonancy book?
It is 100% resonated with this thinking about friction. So that is, and the idea of the loss of connection, you could say, that we experience through digital technology, because it tries to solve problems for us all the time. And what is also funny, that because it's all about efficiency, right, and smoothness and speed also, things go quicker and simpler. And the fact that because we have all those tools to have a more efficient work, whatever flow or efficient, whatever kind of thing, you think, oh, things go so quick, so I can pack much more in my day.
Exactly.
So basically, you end up being totally stressed out because you think you can do so much, I believe, through this thinking of efficiency, that while being more efficient than we used to be, we have much less time.
Exactly.
Or the experience that we have much less time and being stressed out. So I find this very interesting contradiction. And Hartmut Rosa here also taps in that a to-do list is basically the killer number one of resonance. Because for resonance, you need to have the space for being receptive in the first place and responsive to this entity, where the information comes. So, and it is a very interesting, so you need, space for that, and we kill the space.
True. Yeah, that makes so much sense. Yeah. He has this word that he uses, I don't know how to translate. He says, we are living in a state of rasender Stillstand. Like, how would you, like racing, what is Stillstand in English? Do you have?
Standing still.
Yeah, it's like racing, but standing still at the same time. And if we don't race, we actually go down instead of, we have to, it's also another picture he uses, like we're standing on an electric staircase, or how's it called?
Rolling stairs?
Rolling stairs, but backwards. And we are trying to not, no, like that. They are going down, and we are trying to run up all the time, and they are going down. This is the state of.
So you stand still, although you're constantly rushing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think these things I also sort of say in the performance about this concept of standing still when not moving, because we sort of also don't need to move because we can do everything from behind the screen, right? We then artificially go into the fitness studio to move. It's also funny.
That's true.
And then also this idea of boredom is gone, right? Because you have so much entertainment and your phone and distraction at any second, that
very true.
Where this moment of stillness or boredom or that triggers something of resonance is hard to get into this moment. You really have to lock your phone away.
And the worst case scenario is that people even don't know anymore what resonancy is, because they are always on and always available and always on the phone and online. And I think going out without notifications, that's a special feeling for me. Like going outside and knowing that I'm not available anyway feels different than being outside and having my phone completely connected on. And I wouldn't say that one thing is really better than the other one. It's about the balance, maybe. But
But what do you mean with no? Because my phone is always on silent, so I never get notifications. Like anyway, what do you mean with no
yeah,
notification? Or do you mean a dumb phone?
exactly. I mean, a dumb phone, because when I don't
Okay.
have notifications on my phone, I am still addicted and tempted to look onto it and
Yeah.
see
Okay.
if something has happened. That's my personal addiction to my phone, right? So, but it's like maybe smoking, when there are no cigarettes around and you're a smoker, then you don't think about it. But if you know there's a possibility that you can get one in a bar or whatever, like, that's,
Really hard. You're constantly busy with it.
yeah, exactly. It's still
Totally.
kind of in your uh in your RAM, in your random access memory. Yeah.
You know, there are lots of in Amsterdam. I see that online. So funny. They promote it online. There are lots of offline cafes now, where you sort of
Ah,
leave your phone out or at home. I don't know, and they do reading, playing games, and stuff like that. Yeah, it's
that's
sort of
amazing.
big. Yeah.
But maybe for us as designers, now the
Yeah.
question is,
Okay.
how do we bring that kind of lifestyle into a
Mhm.
modern context,
Yeah.
right? How do we
Exactly.
bring it into the future instead of making it look like, okay, we need
Shutting
to
it off. Yeah.
downgrade and getting back to the past, right? This is the
Exactly. And this is where this designing friction idea comes in, where I say that I think we should come up with new ideas for tools, and digital tools and tech that brings us together. And
nice.
then also integrate physical togetherness. So basically, I have an example which I love.
Hmm.
It's from Miranda Julie, the artist, and she
Hmm.
made an app a couple of years ago called Somebody. And it works like that. You send a message, you want to send a message to a friend, but it's not that the friend receives it, but somebody nearest to your friend. And
Hmm.
that person needs to go to that friend and delivers the message in
Oh, that's
person.
so sweet. Oh, that's cool.
Isn't it cool? Yeah.
That's amazing. And also,
And a
that's
year later, this app stopped. Unfortunately, it was, yeah, it had to become a startup or die
mm,
somehow, she explained. And but I think this is a really nice example where you can use tech, but combine it with this
mhm.
physical contact.
Exactly. But isn't then there a necessity to reframe all these terms that we use so often in our daily language, like progress? What is progress? Is Elon Musk's Mars mission progress, right? Or is it something else? So why? I mean, it's a very deterministic point of view onto what technological progress looks like, that prevails in the minds of people. They think, oh, we have AI, so that's progress because there's something new in the world, right? So they don't. They think critically about it, but mostly on an individual level. They think, oh, it's making my work faster and it's
Mhm,
annoying, but they
mhm,
don't think about, okay, how could it look like differently? Like, how could we use it wisely? I think wisdom is a good word here because how can we use technology wisely in general?
mhm.
Um, yeah.
But it's
So,
always like, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, 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 go ahead. It's fine.
No, I just want to say, I mean, it is always a cyclical development, right?
Yeah.
So you try
Mhm.
things out, you find out, oh, it's not working. We have to sort of go back or change things again. So it's continuously,
Innovation,
maybe, and
exnovation.
I don't know either, but yeah, I for sure know that the bit of a problem is that the developments, the technological progress
Yeah.
is financial interest, right? So
Yeah.
basically, for having more AI, using more this and that, there is, or having us more addicted to the screens, there's a big financial interest and not a motivation of making the world necessarily better.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you would need, it would be much slower because you would need to make many more tests, or, is that really, what are the effects of this little new step?
Exactly. Exactly.
And then
And this is
adjust it and iterate it and stuff like that,
And
right?
that's also a systemic question. That's why I love what you said about systems and designing systems, because a system thinking perspective means that you implement a technology, and at the other end of the world, there's something happening that you don't see because you did that, you know? I mean, we have new Macs that we can buy here, but who knows exactly what's happening in these factories in Asia, for example, There were some scandals 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but these days it's very quiet about that, but is it fair? I don't know. I think probably not. So yeah, we need a more holistic point of view onto technology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay, Luna, I know you have to go.
I find it very a pity. You have such a nice clean background. I should have taken the mess off.
You know why I have this clean background? Because this is just a normal room with a white Tapete.
Oh,
Yeah, Luna, I know that you don't have a lot of time, so I want to say thank you so much. I loved in this conversation that we were kind of surfing between so many different topics,
yeah.
and you definitely, yeah, triggered some new ideas. That was really
Yeah.
nice, frictionful, no, well, friction in a positive way, frictionful conversation, which
Yeah.
not, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Bye
Okay.
bye, folks. See ya. Bye.